Hi guys, we're going to start going over the comparatives. So follow along in your notes and fill them in as we go along. Two very important words you need to know when making comparatives of inequality. Más equals more, menos equals less. And we construct this by these two constructions. Well, this one construction first. Más, and then you put an adjective, adverb, or noun in the middle, plus que, which means more blank than. So our first example, if you look down there, is La Escuela de Penfield es más pequeña que la Escuela de Fairport. Okay, the school of Penfield is smaller than the school of Fairport, is more small, literally. If you check out pequeña, it's got an A at the end because la escuela is feminine. When you're working with adjectives, you've got to make sure they still agree with the first subject. So go ahead and make sure you fill this in your notes. La Escuela de Penfield es más pequeña que la Escuela de Fairport. Next one. Ella tiene más gatos que yo. She has more cats than I do. So, same thing. You've got, well, there's no adjective here, so there's no agreement since you're talking about gatos, but it's more cats than I. So the next one, we've got Superman vuela más rápidamente que un avión. Right? You probably figured that it means Superman flies more quickly than an airplane, or Superman flies faster than an airplane. So in English we can do that. We can say faster, taller, shorter, but in Spanish you can't. You've got to say more tall than, more fast than. Okay? So now we're going to talk about less than. So we're going to use the word menos and insert an adjective, adverb, or a noun plus que. So less blank than. So our first example, el lunes es menos divertido que el sábado. Monday is less fun than Saturday. Isn't that the truth? Okay. So el lunes is masculine, so we left it as divertido with an O at the end. Okay, next one. Oscar tiene menos paciencia que pájaro grande. Oscar has less patience than Big Bird. And finally, papá prepara la cena menos a menudo que mamá. So remember, a menudo means often. So your sentence in English is going to sound like, Papa, Dad, prepares the dinner less often than Mom. Okay, there are circumstances where you don't need to have an adjective, adverb, or noun. You can just say more than or less than. So, for example, we've got the first example is Me gusta el coro más que la banda. I like chorus more than band. And then the next one, las lecciones de natación cuestan menos que las lecciones de artes marciales. Okay, swim lessons cost less than martial arts lessons. All right, so now this is your turn. You're going to try writing these. Pause the video and try writing these next four in Spanish on your own. Start it up when you've finished. Make sure you try this on your own so that you can actually get some practice out of this instead of just copying the answers. Okay, so hopefully you have done those four on your own, and let's go over the answers. So my mother is prettier than my father. They're both very pretty, but she is prettier. So mi madre es más bonita que mi padre. Make sure there's an a at the end of bonita. If you use guapa, that's fine. If you use hermosa, that's okay. If you use bella, that's okay too. Just make sure there's a's at the end of those. Number two, Marco eats less food than Luisa. Your answer should look like this. Marco come menos comida que Luisa. Okay. Number three, I've changed the names a little bit on the video, so just bear with me, Maria y Rogelio. So we've got Maria. Maria is more studious than Rogelio. So it would be Maria es más estudiosa, make sure there's an A at the end of that, que Rogelio, or Rodrigo, if you've ever been. Number four, I play less chess than my brother. I play, we know, is yo juego, right? So juego menos ajedrez que mi hermano. Hopefully that went smoothly for you and you understand your errors if there were any. You can always see me in class when we go over it real quick. So I want you to check out the bottom part of your sheet there. When we're talking about comparisons that involve a number, you're going to see that we changed it up a little bit. Instead of using K at the end, we're going to use de. So only when we're using numbers do we do this. So there are more than 50 oranges. That would sound like this. Hay más de 50 naranjas. Okay, the next one. I'm arriving in less than 10 minutes. Llego en menos de 10 minutos. Okay, so let's flip our sheet over, and we're going to go on to some special adjectives that kind of like in English, we have good, better, best. We don't say good, gooder, right? So in Spanish, they have 4 that are like that. And you know what these mean probably. So we've got bueno, which means good. And in order to say better, we say mejor que, better than. Malo, we know is bad. In order to say worse, we say peor que, worse than. Viejo, we know is old. In order to say older, we say mayor que. Joven, we know is young. In order to say younger, we say menor que. Okay, so if you look at that example on your sheet, where it says yo soy menor que mis hermanas, take a minute to see if you can figure that out. I bet you can. Yo soy menor que mis hermanas, and there it is. I am younger than my sisters. Can you figure out which one I am? All right, let's talk about superlatives. The most, the best, the oldest, the youngest. So we form the superlatives by adding el or la in front of más or menos plus the adjective. For example, if you look at my example on the sheet, we say, we're not going to look at the screen right now. Look at your sheet. Amy Peeler is Amy Peeler es la actriz más graciosa. Amy Peeler is the funniest actress. Is the actress most funny, basically, is what it's saying. And then we know what the next one says. El desierto de Atacama es el desierto más seco. Okay, so the desert of Atacama is the desert most dry. You could put that into regular English if you'd like to, where Atacama is the driest desert. Okay, so let's look at some irregulars or special ones like we had with the comparatives of the same 4 adjectives. The good, bad, old, and young. So bueno, and in order to say the best, we put the el or la in front of mejor. So el mejor, la mejor, the best. For malo, which means bad, we're going to say el or la peor, the worst. Viejo, old. So to say the oldest, we say el mayor or la mayor. La chica mayor, she's the oldest girl. Joven, young, right? El or la menor. La hermana menor or la menor. Okay, going on to our example. Let's see what you got for this one. Él es el mejor cantante del mundo. What do you think it's going to mean? So hopefully you have a good guess. El on the screen should have an accent over it to mean he is the best singer in the world. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick minute to talk about some comparisons of equality, meaning as good as funny as many cats as, okay? And we constructed just like these that you have on your screen there and what we have on your paper. Notice that tan doesn't change, and then your adjective has to agree still with the first subject. And then tanto or tanta or tantos or tantas has to agree with the noun. Okay, so we're going to see some examples on the screen. So let's look at this. Miguel es tan estudioso como Ana. Miguel is as studious as Ana. Or you can change it around and say Ana es tan inteligente como Miguel. Ana is as intelligent as Miguel. Okay, then we also have Miguel tiene tantos perros como Ana. Right, Miguel has as many dogs. See how those have to agree? Tantos perros como Ana. I gave you a couple examples on your sheet I'd like you to do before you come into class. There's only 2. Have those done, and we'll talk about them in class. And before you go on, I want you to take a quick minute to look at this screen here. We talked about the first one, that it has to agree in gender and number, but tan and tanto can also be used for emphasis all by themselves to say something like, tú eres tan gracioso, you are so funny, or tu almuerzo es tan grande, your lunch is so big. Comes tanto, you eat so much, or comes tantas manzanas, you eat so many apples. So that's also a very common use in Spanish. Okay, guys, this completes our notes on comparatives. Hope it wasn't too painful, and we'll see you in class tomorrow. Ciao, ciao.